First, though, we return to our top story and the Chancellor's announcement of a series of tax cuts, the most significant in decades. It's left many wondering what it will mean for them. Well, tonight, thanks to questions you've sent in during the course of the day, we'll try and work through some of the big issues concerning you the most. And our consumer editor, Chris Choi, is here to help for today's Ask ITV News. And Chris, there's so much to unpick from today's announcement, isn't there? And understandably, lots of people getting in touch with us.
Absolutely. It's all right for the Chancellor. He's got an army of civil servants to do his sums. Yeah. Now, every household is working out how they're affected. There'll be a lot of calculations on the back of envelopes, I think.
Having said that, let's get to the questions. Now, the first question, this comes from Samson in Manchester.
Back in August, the then Chancellor Nadhim Zahawi said that middle-income earners would need help paying their energy bills. So my question is, how are today's tax changes announced in the budget going to help middle-income earners cope with the rising cost of living?
Well, I'm so pleased Samson's asked that. He's hit the nail on the head because a lot of people want that information. Let's just take a kind of above average income of £40,000 a year. The first thing you're going to notice is that change in national insurance. That starts on November the 6th. And for somebody like Samson in that kind of salary bracket, we're talking about a £340 a year saving. Next, we move on to what is perhaps the most sweeping measure in all of this, which is that change in the main basic tax rate from 20p to 19p. That will kick in later on and will amount, in this case, to about £275 a year. So combined, over £600 a year in savings. But of course, it's all in the context of prices whizzing up left, right and centre.
Yeah, of course. OK, next question now. This one comes from Samantha, who's in Liverpool.
Following the cancelled national insurance rise, how does the government now plan to fund social care?
Well, thank you, Samantha. I think a lot of people will be concerned because there's such a lot of publicity about this particular measure pouring money into social care and health, about £13 billion a year, according to the government's own figures. So what's going to happen to that money? What's going to happen to those services? Is there going to be a gap? Well, no, according to the government. They are saying, their wording, funding will be maintained at the same level as if that levy was still in place.
OK. All right. We've got another question now. This is from Dave from Wolverhampton, who's in the West Midlands, of course.
Regarding the investment zones that the Chancellor mentioned, it's great news for the West Midlands, the people of the Black Country and our local area. What I'd like to know, though, what sort of confirmed points have we got for investment in the area? What actually will it mean? What will it mean for confirmed jobs, job numbers, growth, investment for our young people in the area? Because they're the people who are going to have to pay for this all.
Yeah, a lot of people, wherever they are, will be thinking this, won't they?
Absolutely, quite right, David. And people want specifics. I think it's one of these issues that will be talked about all around the country because there are 38 different areas around England where this is now being proposed. And actually, the government wants to extend it to Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales as well. We don't have much detail. What we do know, Dave, is we're talking about, for those zones, big tax breaks for businesses, stamp duty, business rates, and a rolling back of all kinds of planning regulations.
OK. Now we've got a question from David in Norfolk asking about alcohol duty in our pubs.
As a small brewer, we're particularly interested and welcome the cuts to alcohol duty. But what in reality will that make a difference to in the bar? Can we quantify that in pounds, pence for a pint of beer or gin and tonic? Just so we know we're supporting pubs and getting people into their businesses.
We can do that, David. Appropriate, perhaps, to be talking about pubs. It's a destination a lot of people on a Friday night may have in mind. What is going to happen is alcohol duty will be frozen from February, and we've got some detail on that. So, specifically, we're talking about it being 7p on a pint of beer, less than it otherwise would have been, 4p on a pint of cider, 38p on a bottle of wine and £1.35 on a bottle of gin. But whether prices actually come down depends on each business because they, of course, have their own overheads that are going up and up.
Yeah, OK. We've got a couple of quick-fire questions for you now. Now, the first is John from Brighton, who asks, how does today's budget help those in receipt of disability benefits or state pension increase their disposable income to deal with increased utility and food costs?
Well, you know what, John? I think politicians might find this one a tricky one to answer. The politicians behind the schemes, should I say, because a lot of people feel there's not enough for people that don't work, for pensioners, for carers. Of course, a lot of people that get disability benefits are in work, so they will get some kind of benefit from what's happening with national insurance and tax rates. OK,
final one, just enough time for this one. This is from Chris, who's in London, who asks, I only completed my flat purchase in June. Will the stamp duty announcement apply retrospectively for people who recently purchased their home?
I feel like one of those quiz show hosts that shows people a prize they haven't won, because I'm afraid the answer for Chris is no. It starts today. It's not backdated. I'm afraid he's not going to be helped.
All right, listen, Chris, a lot of information there, a lot to digest, isn't there? Thank you so much.